Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars. Level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art. Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll fly. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Whoa! Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing fantastic today, healthy. But remember, guys, right? You have to be very strong in the mind because everything else falls apart after that if we don't. So today is a good conversation, living grateful, unwritten chapters of hope. This is really a reflection of our anthology coming up called Grateful, A Heart Wide Open, led by our amazing sister, Susanna Dawn. So before we go in today, I am going to actually go with my sponsorship. So here it is. Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Leland. Welcome to our sponsorship program here at Level Up Academy. My first sponsor, it is Moving Beyond Boxes by Susanna Dawn. And this sponsorship is all about public speaking, ghostwriting, editing, teaching, creating courses, and most importantly, really going into the organization and looking at productivity and the correlation between belonging and productivity. So if your employees are feeling like they belong, right? They're working with a purpose. Remember, guys, the old school way of leadership is no longer going to work 2 to 5 years from now, right? Susanna Dawn is a cutting edge leader who's going to lead your organization into a path of feeling inclusive. They feel like they belong and they can work in an organization who listens to them and they feel valued, heard, and seen. So that is Susanna Dawn, Moving Beyond Boxes. And our next one is our sponsor, the Redneck Connector, Mike Asherbanner, the Master Connector. Go ahead and scan that QR code so you can join the Hounds of Business community. This is the only community that I belong to out of all the communities out there. The reason being is that we are all people who are passionate about leveling up and helping others grow. Also feel valued, heard, and seen. The next one I have right now, it is Bass Porter. Go ahead and scan that QR code for his 8-week transformational journey program. And as you can see here, he actually provides structure on what is the value for that week. From week 1 to 2, it's rapid energy reset. 3 to 4 is identity reclamation. 5 to 6 is relationship revolution. And 7 to 8 is sustainable success. Go ahead and scan the QR code and tell Baz, CJ or Dr. Leland sent you. The next one we have is his community for support. So once you belong to his community in terms of the 8-week transformation, he doesn't just stop there. He builds community so you all can learn from each other so that you can sustain what you have learned from the class and sustain it for the rest of your life. All right. So go ahead and scan the QR code for his community. And our next sponsor here is Bella Grace, the Elixir. They actually sell so many things. Summer right now, you want to lose a little bit of weight. They also have Bella Trim through Bella Grace. But what I'm talking about right now is this elixir. What powers it? Let's talk about that. It has 3 amazing ingredients. The first one is Verisol. It's bioactive collagen peptides. Literally, it's absorbed and activated through fibroblast within our cells. What does that mean? It basically optimizes the activity of your cells that controls the matrix form and the foundation. So you what? Look beautiful from the inside out. The other one is Cat's Claw BG332. You guys looked that up. It's a potent inhibitor of the master gene that switch for chronic inflammation called NFKB. Okay. And what it does is that it helps you when your knees are hurting a little bit. It's for that joint support because our body is always an inflammation city. So what it does is it helps those. Okay. It's very potent antioxidant and cell protectant. The other one or the last one is astaxanthin. It's basically a place of nature's most powerful free radical, okay, scavengers. Okay, this is very potent. Then vitamin C, it activates for that longevity gene switch for us, right? So we can always look younger, right? More gracefully aged. And this is like the fountain of youth. That is what I love about this elixir from Bella Grace. Try it out. See what you can. It actually will activate for you. It's not a one night thing. Take it out for a spin for about 30 days. Then, of course, last but not least sponsor, it is a sister company influencing you. It is a social media platform that provides guidance for those people who are content creators, who are business owners, who wants to level up their game when it comes to social media, to mindset, right? How do we post certain things? What are the algorithms? It literally walks you through it. I'm there at 10 a.m. PST on Fridays. Have a beautiful and fantastic day. If you want to sponsor through Level Up Academy, let me know. DM me or email me at lua@levelupbyduckleland.com. Have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, or evening. Hello. Thank you guys, beautiful people. Okay. So we're going to talk about living grateful. It's so hard to live gratefulness when we have so many things that's heavy in our heart. Okay. Here's what I want you guys to think and really pay attention and stay right now in this moment. There will always be people who try to dim your light. Sometimes it's subtle, a backhanded compliment. Sometimes it's loud, a betrayal, a smear, a straight up spiritual gut punch. And when that happens repeatedly, it's very easy to go spiral. Your question, then you're like, hey, what's my worth? Why am I living? What's my purpose? Heck, what's my sanity? Where is it? Mental health toll, it's not small, guys. It's invisible but heavy. Gratefulness is a mental reset button. When everything feels like it's falling apart, gratitude helps you zoom out. You start to recognize, okay, this is hard, but I'm still breathing. I've got people who love me. I'm learning something from this pain. That shift doesn't solve the problem, but it stabilizes your mindset. It's like a spiritual CPR, literally. It grounds you when you know what is truth. When others try to rewrite your narrative, gratefulness anchors you. You remember the truth about who you are, what you've survived, and what you're capable of. You stop letting other people's projections become your reality. Gratitude builds resilience. The more you practice it, the more you train your mind to be bending without breaking. Think of it like an emotional armor. It doesn't mean you don't feel the attack, but it means they don't define you. Gratefulness refocuses you on what's worth fighting for when the world is ugly. Gratefulness reminds you of your mission, your people, your reason to live. It puts your purpose back in front of your face, whispering, hey, you, don't give up. You're needed. Mental health isn't selfish, it's sacred. You taking care of your mind, your heart, your spirit, that is not a luxury. It's called survival. And practicing gratefulness isn't pretending things are okay when they're not. It's choosing to acknowledge the beauty within the pain. So if everyone around you is trying to kill your spirit, be a rebel with a cause. Stay grateful anyway, because your peace isn't theirs to take, and your mindset is your revolution. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep your receipts quietly, elevate. Don't engage for negative people, and refuse to dance with the devil in public. Okay? The number one instinct is to defend yourself loudly. But listen, not everyone deserves an explanation or emotional bandwidth. Silence paired with strength is not a weakness. It's called a strategy. You don't wrestle with pigs, guys. You get dirty and the pigs like it. Don't do that. You're beautiful. Stay you. I'm just saying, okay? Don't do that. Welcome, guys. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm going to bring my sister from another mister, my brothers from another Mrs. How are you guys doing? You're all muted. Sister Susanna, you look so beautiful today. I wish I had my wig on, but I did not sleep well, but I woke up grateful and I for some reason I woke up happy. I actually got invited on a conversation about it was on Ennie's live with Christiana about the trauma that daughters carry. And I'm like, oh, I got trauma. Let me tell you what my trauma is on daughters. I got specific trauma I'm dealing with right now. Let me share. And I was there for 40 minutes. That was really nice. It was nice to just vent. I used to be scared of being looked at as not perfect and coming with too much baggage. And as I slowly grew here on LinkedIn, literally telling strangers my own personal business. For the first 3 times I did that, I felt like I needed to get punished. Like, CJ, why'd you say that? Why'd you share that? That's weird. Like, if your family heard what you just said, you're gonna be so abandoned. I'm like, wait, what's new? Like, I'm already abandoned. Let's just go with it. But it's hard to share something that is traumatic in your life because of fear of judgment, right? So, Miguel, I'm gonna start with you today. And how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. In the same boat as you, I didn't get much sleep, but I woke up in a good mood. So I'm grateful for that. And that I'm able to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. How about you, Leo?
I'm doing great. I also Not enough sleep must be the theme of this thing, because I didn't get enough sleep. One, because I think our kids woke up in the middle of the night. One has like a slight fever, but not too much. But yeah, so it was a restless night, but we got through it and we're here.
Yeah, Bella is sick right now for the last, God, almost a week now, and she's coughing like crazy. I'm like, I might have to take you to urgent care. And she's like, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, I don't know how long we can do that, right? And I gave her NyQuil to put her to sleep because she's not sleeping, but it's like she's just coughing really bad. I'm like, oh, her ribs must hurt really bad. And I feel so bad. So, restless night. How about you, sister? Did you sleep well?
I slept some.
Yeah, it's the theme. Leo's right. It's the theme of the night. But let's talk about being grateful. Sometimes we need a reset to get out of our minds. And when our current situation takes over our minds and our hearts, our spirits gets dim and we spiral down. So before we move on, could I invite you guys to do a box breathing really quickly live? Okay. So I want you guys to breathe in, hold for 5 seconds. Actually, make it 4 seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth. Ready? One, two, three. Okay. One more time. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out. Feel that in your brain. One more time. Deep breath, guys. Hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out. Promise, last one. Breathe in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out. All right. Breathe all those negative energy. We don't need it. We really don't need it. Box breathing helps you um, get a space, just even inside your car. If you have no space that are like, if you live in an apartment and kids are like screaming, or if you live in New York and you hear your neighbors, Miguel, just go to some place that like bathroom or something and lock yourself up. It literally takes do that for about 3 minutes and don't think about anything. And if you have ADHD, our brain's always constantly moving. Focus on like a circle, something really like nonsense, and just keep breathing in that circle, and then close your eyes and you'll reset your spirit. Doesn't mean that you're not feeling that heaviness, but it means like you're just kind of resetting your brain. So, Susanna, I'm going to start with you since you are the lead of this project. Grateful, a heart wide open. And let's talk about a little bit on what the people are going to be reading about your story on gratefulness. Um, when you started writing this, what was your thought at first?
When I started, I'd had an idea of what I wanted to look at. Of part of it is looking at the past with a grateful lens instead of it's too easy for us to look at the past and wish we did something different, wish something had changed, wish we'd taken a different path. But to do that is really to change who you are now. And when it's possible to look in the mirror and be happy with who you see, why would you want to even risk damaging and changing that person when that's the person that you are, you know, and you love? So that was kind of my approach to this, is looking at the past with gratitude and not pointing out some of the things that went bad, but not letting those be the focus of what happened, finding the gratitude even within the negative things, whether they happen in the past or they happen more recently.
Yeah, it's hard to be grateful when you're going through so much at the same time. Like Leo going through his stroke. Oh, I'm grateful I have a stroke. right? I mean, seriously, that's an oxymoron. But at the same time, I could see Leo's story like going through this made him realize even more grateful of how amazing his family is, right? Talk about that, Leo.
Yeah, I think many of your audience has heard that I've had numerous strokes more recently, and that I have had some death in the family. So, like Susanna said, it's going through the bad times, but also looking at how those bad times help you be, you know, thankful for the people who are around you. Like you said, um, my immediate family, my kids, my wife, her parents, her siblings have all been there to support me um, through whatever I was going through. Um, and it was just a big help um, for Danielle to um, because she literally became a single mother of now 4 kids. I call myself a kid because I act like one of the kids. um, but literally 4 kids, and she's doing an awesome superwoman job of it. I can't thank her anymore because I don't have any more. It's like I've already thanked her for everything, and it's just she's just doing a really awesome job. It's like I I don't know how she's doing it with no sleep, or sometimes no sleep, no, and she has pain right now in her back, and she's going through that, and she still has to be herself, right? She has to be your sister, and so it's it's tough to see her go through those things because you don't want to see a loved one have to endure something that was caused maybe by me. There's other factors in our life that is contributing, but the main thing was the strokes, that I'm not able to drive. She has to drive us everywhere. She has to take the kids to football practice. She literally became a single mother, and gratitude is not enough. I owe her more than my life if I could give it, because she has done a wonderful, wonderful job, and you guys know how much how much she's done. So yeah, thank you.
Wow, I felt that. I was like, wow, I felt that energy of gratefulness. Thank you for sharing that gratefulness, even through the lens of the camera.
Right? Yeah.
Danielle is amazing. You're right. She tries to keep her sanity together, and I love that she's so open to tell Susanna and I. Mostly, she gets a hold of Susanna more than me because my meetings are just crazy sometimes. Um, but at the same time, we check in with each other, and it's funny because if we don't check in, you check in like, you guys want to fight? Why are you guys not talking? It's kind of funny. We don't ever fight. Like, I don't remember fighting with Danielle or Susanna, really. We don't really have those because we don't have our ego in our friendship. And they know that I say it the way it is. And I'm just going to give my peace of mind, whether she agrees with it or not, she can take it. And that is called the power of choice, right? Danielle's love for her family and um, really is a choice. And I think we forget sometimes that I do too. I always say, I don't have a choice. I do have a choice. I just choose not to choose, right? I know that sounds kind of repetitive, but it is. It's a choice. We choose to be ungrateful. We choose to be mean. We choose to be mean to others. We choose to be anything we want, really. If you want to be a Barbie, you can. Like, there's nobody stopping you. It's the fear of judgment that gets in the way, right? And failure, what does that mean? What does that mean, failure? Because everything in life is a test. Everything. You get tested of who you are. You get tested of who your real friends are, especially when you're down. You get tested on your capabilities. Speaking of capabilities, Miguel has a capability statement now, and I'm so happy about that. Miguel, talk to us about you have your own journey as well. You've shared it with Rebel with a Cause, so I'm pretty familiar with it. But I wanted to kind of extrapolate your story this time. Susanna had the pleasure and privilege of editing it. How has that been different than Rebel with a Cause?
Thank you for asking. For me, this time around, well, it's about introspection, looking inward. And in the Rebel with a Cause, I was sharing of myself, just a snippet, tiny snippet of experiences that was happening to me. But in relation to what everyone has been saying, life is always trying you, and it's always demanding of you and imposing upon you. And then in these moments is when people can get lost. And then so having that moment, like you had us do, sit down and do that box breathing, was a second to of personal reflection, introspection, bringing yourself back to the center. And then so, but when I wrote Rebel with a Cause, that chapter was more about analyzing myself, my place within a subculture. And that's in the subculture of being homelessness, as I was living it. This time in this chapter, it's the same theme where I'm analyzing myself, but this time there really isn't a subculture I'm associating myself to. It's more overall broad who I am. And I would say it's more emotional. It's definitely more personal, more my story placed in it. Um, but at the same time, that's my hope in it, is that I share some resources that I discovered in this process of personal introspection. And then, I'm learning and I'm enjoying that, my leadership style is living by experience. And me going about that personal introspection, self growth, people around me just witness that, and then they see it, and then that instills in them, it provides them an example, a looking point, aspire perhaps. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that gives me gratitude. As you can see, I'm smiling just as I'm talking about it. But yeah, so I would say that was the difference. It's all autoethnography, where you're analyzing yourself within a social context. Um, but this time around, very much more goes into my mind as opposed to the external factors of what was going on with me. It's more the internal psychosocial factors that was happening inside of me at the moment. So thank you.
I love that. Social construct and adding yourself into it. It's like, think of a glass of water, right? It's clear. That's the whole entire thing. When we were born, we're clear. And you add just a drop of ink, and that water is now muddy, right? And that's our mental health. It's a choice, but not a choice, right? So when someone adds things to your plate and you're already going through things, it gets muddy. And how do we do that? We pour more water, right? So it gets clear again. So that mud gets out. And what kind of water are you pouring in yourself? Now, if your subconscious is already negative and you're pouring more negative, you're on fire. You got a fever of negativity. So you got to add more positive things in your life. It could be just talking to a friend, Uber Eats of Dunkin' Donuts coffee that your daughter picks up for you, just little things, gratefulness. But, sister, I'm going to ask you this question. When life felt the most unfair, maybe it's still feeling that right now, what role did gratefulness play in your healing, or did it feel impossible at first?
I've gone through a number of spots where I think it really felt unfair. And it's only been the last few years that I've actually looked back on things to see gratefulness. So in the midst of it, it was always difficult to see what to be grateful for. Only recently, and so it's only been the recent and things going on in my life that did them extremely negative. Looking for where the gratitude is, and quite frankly, it begins. It doesn't. It can feel impossible, but the fact that I have people that I can turn to and let know what's going on, that makes a huge difference.
Without judgment. I wanted to add that because sometimes when you vent with someone that you trust your emotions in, and then weeks later you come to find out you got a little tiff and they use that against you, that's the worst feeling in the world. I
Mm-hmm.
hate that. And I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but I have in many times. And so that's the reason why I don't share much. Now I just don't give an F. Like, okay, you judge me. I'm not perfect. Who cares? Ding, da, da, ding. That's my life. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. Leo, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I love your pink shirt. For sure.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So this is my question for you, Leo. What's one moment you didn't appreciate until you lost it? And how has that shaped your outlook today?
Oh wow. Um, uh, I would definitely have to. Well, I mean, there's a few things I could point at. My the passing of my parents. That could be one. Appreciation of when I lost my parents, because they've done a whole lot for myself and my brother and my wife and our kids. Um, but that's probably one. But I think the most um, the one moment that I feel is more devastating, I guess, is when I had my strokes. I didn't realize that what a stroke could do for a person, and not being able to drive, taking for granted the things that we do on a daily basis, drive, walk, um, you know, turn your head quickly, those types of things. Granted, I don't have the stereotypical stroke symptoms of like having one side all limp, um, but I did lose part of my brain to, some of the oxygen was you know blocked by a clot. So um, that part of the brain has passed away, and so I think I appreciate more that that I'm able to be here, be able to talk to you like I am, um, and express how I'm feeling to everyone, and more importantly is uh, show my appreciation to my family, who are still here. My wife, my kids, my in-laws. They've all done a great help, and it kind of all ties in with our faith. We help each other when things are rough. You know, um, and so when I couldn't walk, they had to get me food, they had to get me coffee, they had to, get me water. So, it's those little things that you take for granted, that you do on a daily basis, that I appreciate the most. And I feel like my strokes have definitely played a major role in that. And I can't express how loving my wife is for again, it all ties back to her, and the job that she's been doing for us. So um I hope I answered your question.
You did. You did. Thank you. And I think you're only looking at the physical because that's the first thing that people will
Yeah.
see, right?
Yeah.
But the mental toll, I can't
Oh
even
yeah,
imagine.
definitely. I can remember the time I hadn't even left. I think I was first admitted to the hospital, and this not the emergency room. This is the actual hospital. Where I was like thinking, how am I supposed to support my family? How am I supposed to, do this and that while I'm here? I can't, do anything. I can't do nothing. I'm laying in this bed. I can't walk. I can't balance. I have no balance. So I do remember a time specifically when I was just like, how did I get in this position? you know and my wife was right there by my side, just telling me everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be okay, we'll get through this. God has not given us something that we can't get through. And that's the one statement that we live by as a family is we will never be given something by God that we cannot get through. He will always help us through everything. So um, our faith and our family like my chapter is um, built around is faith and family. Yeah.
I love that. Faith is definitely something that brings people individually, right, on your own.
Right. Right.
Um, Sometimes I think when you're boxed in and you feel like you can't get out and you're like, what's the point of living? Um, you kind of question your existence, right? Existentialism is a philosophical movement, but you really ask, like, why do we exist? Why do I exist? What's the point? I'm so tired. I'm so tired of dealing with these people. I'm so tired of dealing with my own emotions. I'm so tired. I just don't want to be in this situation anymore. And it's easy to give up and exit. You're like, I'm done. Bye. I've been in that situation and I've been even most recent in that emotional roller coaster.
Hmm.
Um, and you try to live authentically, but it costs a lot. It costs your own mental health sometimes when you try to be happy for yourself. Just being you is so difficult sometimes. As hard as that is, it's like it's an uphill battle. Right? Like, why do we have to go through this adversity? Can I just breathe for a moment?
Yeah.
Right? Freedom and responsibility. Those two is so heavy,
Oh yeah.
right? You're just trying to be free, but it's really hard to be free. It sounds sexy, but it's not that sexy when you have to go through all the negative things in your life. But freedom also comes with full accountability, right? You can choose to become anything, but that also means you can't blame anyone else for what you have become,
Hmm.
only if you choose to be you. But a lot of times we choose to be somebody else for the sake of others. That's why authenticity is like giving out these words, but it's really difficult. When you're not living yourself, you feel gone and you feel dead. But when you're trying to live yourself, people will try to kill you for that, right? You can't be that. Why could you be that? You hurt my feelings. It's not about you.
Hmm.
It's about me. Let it go. And that's when I think we need to also be kind. And I'm so done with being kind to others sometimes when they're unkind to me. And so I ask God, like, why do I have to be the bigger person all the time? Why can't I just be a brat right now and not be a bigger person? Like, "Grr," right? And at the same time, you hear a little whisper in your head, like, because you're meant to be a bigger person. Hello? Like, literally, I'm arguing with myself all at once at the same time. But you have to find it in your heart to live the best life you have because right now is the last day of your last breath, could be. You don't know. And gratefulness doesn't have to be big and huge, uh, party. Just being grateful that you're able to breathe, like you said, can't even walk. I can't even imagine not being able to walk, right? And
Hmm.
being the breadwinner of your family, that hurts not just your ego, but your existence. Because sometimes men define themselves as the breadwinner.
The breadwinner.
And if
Right.
you take that away from them, Why do I exist? What's the point? What's my kids going to think of me? Right? What's my family going to think of me? Forget the immediate family because they see you suffering. What about the public? What about my
Yeah,
friends?
everybody else.
Right? So that's a lot to worry about. And I say, who cares? So back to you, sister. This is my next question. What's one small thing that you're grateful? And I'm going to have two questions for Miguel. That's why I went back to you. What's one small thing you're grateful for now that your old self might have overlooked completely?
Small thing. I mean, crap, you're having me look back over 60 years here. um,
Hint small, not big.
well, yeah, small, but I mean, I'm just kind of going now. I'm going through 60 years trying to figure out what really makes any sense to me, um, because with me, it's quite frankly, it doesn't matter what it is. When I look back in the past, I pretty much overlooked everything when I was in it. So it's hard for me to just identify any specific thing to be grateful for. I can sit back now and maybe look at what Dusty meant to me and Fenny meant to me, my two dogs. At the time, I didn't notice, but hindsight, I see how they made an impact on me when I needed it most. So just thinking about the period, it's hard for me to go back and pick specifics because living in the storm, you sometimes don't realize how you survived that storm in the first place until so much later. And so it's two different viewpoints of the same thing.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes because our brain is actually wired to look for big things. So, my point is when you look for little things, nothing huge, just little things, and train your brain to be grateful for little things, you get happy. That dopamine kicks in, right? I'm just saying, like, when you look for big things and you're like, oh, geez, right? I'm grateful that I have roof over my head while it's raining outside. I'm grateful that I have lights that I can, have this because I did live in growing up. We had brownouts where we had no lights for days. We couldn't even have a refrigerator. But our fish was always fresh because we didn't have a refrigerator. So we had to go buy the fish every day. So we have to look for little things, guys, is one my point. Look for little things today. Find two things that you're grateful for today. It doesn't have to be big, right? It doesn't have to be like breathing because you are grateful for breathing, but something little things. Be intentional on that one. And Miguel, I have two questions for you. I actually have to think about this. That's the reason why I put you this one. It says, have you ever used gratefulness to combat anxiety, bitterness, or even burnout? I know a little bit on your talk about Rebel with a Cause. But the second question is, what did that look like in practice?
Um, this is was a very powerful, impactful moment for me. Um, I was when I was living in the homeless shelter, and I was complaining about my safety and the safety of others around me. And I was thrown out of the homeless shelter 2 days before Christmas. And I was sent to another shelter. That shelter, that same night, the manager of the building, that morning, the manager of the building tried to force himself into the room to extract me from the shelter. Thankfully, I had enough sense. I put the dresser behind the door so I can get some sleep. After that incident, I was sent to another shelter. Um, and then a week after that, on my birthday, I was assaulted and got punched in the face. by a stranger. And then this led to us both being arrested on my birthday and losing my residence and most of my belongings. But and as I was in that jail cell with blood and feces and urine on the wall, I fell right to the floor and praising God and giving him thanks and expressing gratitude to Jesus Christ in that moment for me not wanting to kill myself. Um, and that was a direct expression of gratitude in a moment of chaos all around me. And there was silence around me as that was happening, as others were there witnessing and observing it. This man praising Jesus right now in this moment because he doesn't want to kill himself any longer. And that's what a moment I'll share, which wasn't too long ago. But yeah, that was an impactful moment for me myself. It was a realization because I decided I didn't want to do that a long time ago. You know, a while ago. It took me most of my life to ascertain that I don't no longer want to die by my own hand. But then being put in that situation, consecutive situations back to back, and then, you know, and then to tying into, you know, Leo and manhood, and you know, that it ties into a sense of impotence when you're taken and placed in a situation and in a space you have no control. And had I not previously done the work of introspection and healing and this knowledge attainment, and then that same situation had happened to me, I probably, my reaction at that moment would have been different than falling to the floor and giving thanks to God. I will say that much. Thank you.
You were meant to be here today. All of that experience just for today, because this conversation could be a lifeline for somebody else, right? It's in the moment of despair that we get to know ourselves, of who we truly are and who we truly are made for. And before we end this conversation, I actually want to answer this, and I want you guys to answer this as well. This is the same question for all four of us. If your gratitude could speak today, what would it say about who you become and what you've survived? Let me answer that from my heart. If my gratitude could speak today, is all the things that I have gone through since childhood, even though it was very difficult. There were many, 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 many moments that I just didn't even want to be here. Like being abandoned by your own parents. Why even have me in the first place if you can't even take care of me? Being abandoned by your family, bullied by your so called friends because you're just different. Your own teacher even tells you you're literally the devil's spawn. None tells me that because I talk too much, get in trouble a lot. And I had prayed, I don't know, hundreds, if not thousands of Hail Marys and Our Fathers on my knees for years as a child because they made me do it. Because I talk too much. That was my punishment. And I don't follow directions. Never did. And that's why I get in trouble in school. And they couldn't figure out why I still get good grades, even though I'm the devil's spawn. In an Immaculate Conception. That was my school's name, ICC, Immaculate Conception College. And they're like, something's wrong with her. I think it's because her mom's American. Yeah, she's not really Asian. To not feel like you belong, even though you're born and raised in that country and in that family, and not knowing that your bloodline have greatness in them and just focusing on all the negative things that's going in your life, it was meant to be. Literally, guys, I almost died 8 times, including cancer, and cancer can't even kill me yet. I say yet because the rest is unwritten, right? If I if there's anything that I am, is I'm grateful for my journey because I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if I didn't suffer for all of that. But one thing that I want to tell you is that every single person, all four of us, and everybody else who's listening, replay or live, whatever you're going through right now is your journey. And don't take it away from yourself. And don't take away the credit, the fact that you're going through it. Own it, embrace it, even though it's so painful. Because you're actually here to not only live your life, but to help others live theirs in a shortcut version. We're supposed to hand down. Storytelling is in us, it's in our DNA. To hand down our experiences so that others could learn from. You can't make people learn, by the way. They want to learn, they can learn. But I'm grateful that I've gone through all my adversity, because not only I'm surviving, I'm thriving and helping others. So that's what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for you guys being here and sharing your story. Sister, if your gratitude could speak today, what would it say about who you become and what you've survived?
It would start with the butterfly effect, as written by Ray Bradbury in A Sound of Thunder. Just looking back and understanding that everything I went through is what I had to go through to get to where I'm at. To look at the reasons for why God put certain aspects in my life that were difficult, but it was still something to go through, and quite frankly, to see the miracles that he did that I didn't know about until well after they had occurred. There were miracles I didn't know about, or even didn't think about them as the miracles that they were when I initially learned about them, until I started thinking more about gratitude and everything we go through. And that was something I can go back and point to, is seeing those. So everything I've gone through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is what got me to this point. And the question is, can I make sure that I survive, take what I've done in the past, and be able to survive what's going on in the present, to be who I was created to be in the first place, and walk that path completely.
It's not easy to be us, is it? But only us can go through this journey. Leo, if your gratitude could speak today, what would it say about who you've become and what you've survived?
In a literal sense, I think my gratitude speaks to me every day. Danielle has always told me, um, I am a great, because I would, so let me start with this. Sorry. I would always tell myself, hey, you've gone through these things, your parents are gone, you only have your brother, you've had 2 + 2 strokes, 4 strokes total. And there's just a lot of things going on top of all of that, right? But like I was saying, I think my gratitude speaks to me every day, because Danielle tells me every day and shows me every day that um, I am a good husband. I'm a good father. I'm a good, friend. Um, I'm a good person. And without the things in the past that have gone through my life, whether good or bad, all of that has shaped me to be who I am now, right? My parents have taught me the things I need to do, and have, introduced me to the faith that I need to have in God to be able to lead my family, be a good dad, be a leader, co-leader in our family, right? And now I have to help Danielle be um, another pillar, I guess, another pillar in a sense, of our family, to move in the right direction. And we are moving in the right direction. She would always tell me, you survived 4 strokes. You have survived your parents passing away. You survived. I rolled my car. Let's just say that. I fell asleep like back when me and Danielle were still dating. I was driving home from her house after dropping her off after my brother's graduation in Stockton. I ran into a car. I fell asleep and I ran into a car. I've also fallen asleep on the freeway, and I've rolled my car, and God has saved me through all of that. And Danielle would always bring those instances back from my past and say, "Hey, you've survived all of these things, and yet you're still here. God has still a purpose for you." So I think, like I said, she speaks to me every day. My family speaks to me every day. And that's what they would say. They would say, "You become a great dad. You become a great father, and you're going to continue to be that. Um, you've been a great husband." And she continuously tells me that, and it's um it's kind of heart it's almost heartbreaking to see her go through all of the things that we're going through right now. And I tear up because, you know, sometimes I feel like she's all alone, but she's not. And I love her for everything that she has given to our family and for everything she is to our family. So, uh, l- yeah, my gratitude. She literally speaks to me every day.
Thank you for that. How about you, Miguel?
For me, my gratitude would tell me today that I'm calm and that I have power, and that I have to transcend both myself and this time that I'm in. And I'm grateful for spaces and opportunities that I have and that I'm welcome in, and I'm even grateful for the spaces and opportunities that I've been shunned from. And because disrespect I've taken in spaces of social justice and in places where I'm trying to insert myself in to impart change and instill change, and then dealing with resistance in places where there's supposed to be change happening. And people who don't know me, and whoever just heard what I had shared earlier, not knowing that little snippet and then coming up to me and approaching me with some disrespect, and then asking me to remain humble is in another whole another universe. I don't know what world you're living in, but I remain humble myself, and I'm grateful for that. And the number one thing is I'm not cynical either. Um, that is the win. That I can walk in this world and see the evil and see the bad and not have it change me. Um, and I'm thankful for that. And I thank God for His wisdom and His protection that He gives me. So, thank you.
I love that. Humility keeps your ego in check so you can stay teachable, right? Humility is sometimes people think, oh God, no. Humility isn't about thinking less of yourself, it's about thinking of yourself less often. Okay. Um, it's knowing your worth without having to broadcast all the time. It's also a strength wrapped in grace, in gratitude, and authority really is wrapped in listening. Susanna's really a good listener. The power rooted in purpose, but not ego. And I think when you're younger too, sometimes we tend to operate on the ego because that's all we know until we know better, right? And so it builds deeper relationships when you're humble and you stay humble. There is a difference between advocating for yourself and being egotistical. And manipulation, I think, sometimes comes naturally for others because they don't feel good about themselves. So they try to manipulate your mind, your heart, and your spirit. You have the power of choice. Choose wisely because whatever your emotions that you let in, it's like that door, guys. Think of your brain as like a door. When you open the door and you're like, okay, that guy has a gun. Do you want to, like, hey, you want to come in? You want to murder me today? Hold on, let me get my salmon real quick and have my filet mignon, and you can murder me in like 5 minutes after I eat, okay? You're not going to have that conversation, right? That's literally what you're doing. You're inviting people to open that door and said, yeah, come in, free rent in my brain so that I can be emotional today. No, I don't think so, right? When you know yourself better, the first reaction that we have is the strong one. And that is to say, what the F are you talking about? Right? And then you're like, wait, why am I angry? For what? My heart palpitation is coming up. What's going on here? My heart rate is going up. Why? What's the point? Right? My mom has a lot of mini strokes too, and it runs in my family. So I try not to get angry. But when I'm into the conversation, I feel like I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm just really loud. But it creates a space for gratitude, guys. Empathy and personal growth is important. And thank you guys so much for being so open to your experiences, so open to answering the questions that I have. And I'm grateful for having all of you here and people who are watching, people who are not watching, or people who are doing replay. Thank you guys so much, sister. Thank you for being here, brother Leo and Miguel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, for the podcast from Wednesday tomorrow, and then on Sunday, again with Susanna. Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
I started in the silence, behind closed doors. Dreams too loud to keep tucked in the floorboards. Late nights, broke days, no applause in sight. Just coffee, hustling that fire to fight. They said, play small, but I'm built to expand. No silver spoon, just grit in my hand. I will every note, like armor and steel. Visibility's a battle, but I'm real and I heal. From invisible threads to the front of the stage, I'm rewriting the script, turning scars into page. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. Yeah, yeah. What they couldn't believe. See the back end, just a headline glow. But success is built slow, where the struggle don't show. Algorithms change, but your mission's divine. You're the brand, you're the vision, you're the power behind. You gave free just to prove you have value inside. Now it's invoices paid and your name amplified. You're not just in business, you're changing the game. And your visibility, that's more than a name. No more shrinking, this is expansion. No more asking, this is commanding. You've been the spark, now you're the flame. Entrepreneur by fire, fueled by name. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. What they couldn't believe. To the late nights, the lost friends, the risks you took, to the brand you built and the space you shook. Here's your crown, your moment, your spotlight beam. You didn't just chase the dream, you became the dream.